The civil rights crusade of the 1960s brought national attention to the inequitable treatment of black people. The movement helped influence passage of the Civil Rights Act. It ultimately brought attention to the unjust treatment of all minority segments of the population. In Milwaukee, the mayor and common council have worked to ensure that all minorities have equal opportunities. Among their actions, establishing the Equal Opportunity Enterprise Program. It promotes business ventures within city government for minority, disadvantaged, and women-owned businesses.
Edna Abernathy is the president of E.R. Abernathy Industrial, which is a welding, safety, and industrial supply company here in the city of Milwaukee.
You may not know Edna Abernathy, but you're familiar with what her company does for the city. She's the distributor of your green garbage carts. In all, 20,000 of them, a $690,000 contract. The garbage carts are only one of 20 product lines distributed by the industrial and safety supplier. The company has 4 employees and is growing. About 25% of its current business is with government through the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program.
It's kind of tedious, but I did it at the very beginning where it wasn't a whole lot, didn't have a whole lot of history and track record, and it wasn't too bad. And it was about a 90-day turnaround. And after 90 days, I had my certification, and now it's an ongoing recertification that you have to do every year or every 2 years. And it's not that difficult a process. It's just taking the time to do it.
Commercial printing and typesetting are just some of the services available at Deluxe Printing and Mailing Service of Milwaukee. Among its Milwaukee government contracts, printing of a new forestry manual for the Public Works Department.
What we're looking at right here is the Arborist Certification Study Guide, and that's the project that Deluxe has been given to do. This study guide is for individuals seeking to become certified arborists for the city of Milwaukee, maintaining the trees that are on the city streets.
Deluxe Vice President and General Manager Lenice Norris says government contracts are a small but important part of their business activity.
We're not dependent in that sense at all on government operations. As a small business, we basically have clients across the board. And on the government end of it, I would just say there's just like a normal customer. They will periodically send information to us to bid on. And if we're, competitive in our bidding and are successful in our bidding, we get the job.
Milwaukee's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program provides hundreds of opportunities for certified companies to bid on city contracts. Opportunities are available in areas we've already seen, such as commodity procurement and professional services, as well as service orders and construction.
We're downtown at Pierre Marquette, downtown in the city of Milwaukee, along the river. We in turn are general contractor on phase 1 of the new river walks that are coming to Milwaukee.
As many as 100 people were employed at various times this past summer by another DBE certified firm, Platt Construction of Milwaukee. Platt was the successful bidder for concrete and other work on the first phase of the Riverwalk project in Pierre Marquette Park. The company has enjoyed its relationship with the city and is looking forward to becoming a successful bidder on other city contracts.
We've been very fortunate with having some great opportunities that the DBE programs have opened the doors for us to walk through. We in turn, it's given us an opportunity to develop our company stronger and better.
Who is eligible for certification as a disadvantaged business enterprise? Any small business that meets specific criteria, including but not limited to management and daily operations control by one or more disadvantaged or minority applicant. owned at least 51% by one or more disadvantaged or minority person. The business opportunities we've seen are just a few of many available with city government. It's an investment that benefits the businesses, their employees, and the city.
If there are other entities such as myself that are out there and able to have the contracts with the city, we're going to make money. We're going to hire more people. We will contribute more to a tax base. It'll ease all of our burdens in terms of taxes when you've got more people working, more people employed, more people paying in.
And they're doing something good. I mean, they're working consciously with minority firms, disadvantaged firms, to help bring us some business, and that's great. That's great. We're here. Deluxe is here. Like I said, since 1960, we're committed to the community. We're employing people from the community, and we want to grow. And anyone out there who wants to help us do that, I would certainly, welcome their business.
We strongly recommend that. If somebody's involved with it, they'll see that they can go a long way. The doors get opened and gives you an opportunity to develop your own company.
We continue our discussion now on doing business with the city with William Thompson, manager of Milwaukee's Equal Opportunities Enterprise Program, and Deborah Blanks, city purchasing director. Welcome to Insight Milwaukee, first of all.
Thank you.
And let's begin with some definitions of the programs you both are involved with. What is the Equal Opportunity Enterprise Program?
Well, Tom, the Equal Opportunity Enterprise Program is a ordinance that was enacted after the Richmond-Croson decision. It's based on getting minority businesses or disadvantaged business, into the contracting arena of the city, contracting opportunities in the areas of construction, personal services, and purchasing.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about definitions again, beyond what the program is. What do we mean in this case when we're talking disadvantaged and minority?
When we're talking about disadvantage, we're talking about a business that is 51% owned and controlled by a disadvantaged individual, which goes through a list of criteria. That criteria being economic, employment, social, residential, and business training. With that, they go through the joint certification program, who will evaluate the criteria that they have listed in those areas. Economic has to be overwhelmingly the 3 of the other 5: employment, social, and education, and business training, and business residence. They will evaluate that, and then there's a committee by the joint certification program who will review that, or the analyst will review it, and then the committee will make that decision. We've presently changed a little bit of the JCP directive, where the manager now can do administratively a decision on who is certifiable as far as disadvantaged business.
JCP meaning
the joint certification program
process.
Correct.
Okay.
With that, after that, they will go through the process, and then we will get the listing of those businesses that are presently certified, and we'll try and contact them to get on the purchasing list and do business with the city, providing what area they're in.
Okay. Deborah, what is the Standards and Procurement Division in the City of Milwaukee? What is its purpose?
Well, we really have several purposes. We have, for instance, the purchasing section, which I think is one of the sections that people know the most about or hear the most about. In that section, we process the purchasing requests from all the different departments that are comprised of in the city. We also have a print shop. We have a microfilming and record storage center. We have an accounts payable that processes then the payments of those purchases. We have a section that looks at setting standards and monitoring standards in a variety of areas, from records management to information resource management, vehicles, buildings, the use of standards in those areas. So we really do a vast amount of things. But I think the area where we relate the most with Bill's office really is the area of purchasing.
Let's say that there's a minority disadvantaged business person watching this program right now, and they think, maybe this is something I could get involved with. Where do I go to find out the information? What should I know before I go into the program, even begin to ask about it?
Well, if they're a business that's already started, I guess, then there's no problem. They can give me a call at 286-5553, and we will help them continue in the process. If they want to look at certification, we'll let them know what benefits that we can offer for them. We'll give them pretty good information on financials, other resources, early proposal planning grants if they want to take it a little further.
The joint certification program you mentioned before, what kind of a process is that? Is it time-consuming? Is it expensive?
It's the process itself is free for certification. The application is pretty long because we want to make sure that the businesses that we are representing, that we are trying to help, are not fronts, as they would say, or businesses that have come in through the door to try and take advantages of some of the things and opportunities that we're doing at the city.
Mm-hmm. Should the company have a track record of some kind, or is that not necessary?
It is necessary to have a small track record of actually showing that they are presently doing some form of business with either the city or maybe some other private sector work, so that they can have some actual credentials to work off of, some actual working papers that they can look at.
What does standard and procurement, and as city purchasing director, what kinds of activity do you need? What kinds of businesses are you looking for that could become involved with the city?
Well, actually, we would welcome any type of business. We purchase, as I mentioned earlier, for the city departments, and their needs range from vehicles, trucks, heavy-duty trucks, electronic equipment, computers, paper, office supplies, industrial hardware. We find that currently we have disadvantaged businesses able to supply furniture and office supplies, paper products, those kinds of things, even one or two in industrial hardware and computers. We're still looking for those disadvantaged businesses, however, that supply in the area of electronic repair, in the area of paper, but specifically computer paper, businesses that can sell trucks to the city. What I think, though, that's important for any business, and especially disadvantaged businesses, to remember is that while we may have a pool of vendors that we talk to and send bids to, that they really need to contact us to explore the opportunities, because there are many opportunities here in the city.
How big is that opportunity? Do we have any numbers as far as how many people might be involved, how many businesses, how many dollars are generated through these opportunities?
Well, from the purchasing end, this year, and our figures are up to date, including July, we know that we've done about $22 million in purchasing. We would expect that now in October, though, we would have done much more than that. We know that, for instance, in the first 6 months of the year, we had purchased about $1 million from disadvantaged businesses. That means that we generally do about 5% of our business in purchasing with disadvantaged businesses. Now, I know that Bill wants us to do even more. He wants us to do 18% or greater, and that is our goal, too. So while we feel good about 5%, we know that 5% isn't enough, that we need to keep exploring new ways to bring in more disadvantaged businesses into the competition and the opportunities.
That 18% figure that you mentioned is a goal, I believe, of all city departments, isn't it, and contracting agencies?
That is correct.
How is that going? Some agencies, I believe, meet the goal, don't they?
Presently, DPW is meeting and exceeding the goal, but what we have to remember is there's a lot of businesses in the construction area, and construction is more labor intense. Your biggest problems may be cash flow in construction, but at least if you're able to get in there and get the job, and with the 18% requirements, a lot of the contractors, prime contractors, are subbing to the DBE or disadvantaged businesses. So it works out a lot better and a little easier. Commodities is a little tougher to put a 18% requirement on ink pens, or an 18% requirement on typewriters or certain items that are commodities, because you can't split it up and let one person supply one side and let another person supply the other. All it will do is tack on an additional cost to the city, but we're looking at some possible change in legislation or ordinance to maybe help that situation.
We mentioned some of the things that are being provided and that you need
Sure,
as far as purchasing goes, but let's go back to those again and just indicate what is involved in construction and service orders. What do those two things mean as far as the need for minority business enterprises?
Well, when you break construction down, if there's sidewalks or sewers, usually the prime contractor will take certain areas that he'll automatically work on, but there's areas of traffic control, sodding, landscaping, the resodding of the grounds after it's been broken up, the removal of debris, the pouring of the concrete, the re-leveling of the sewer and regrading the manhole covers to the level of the city. So a lot of times the prime contractor only takes maybe a major part of that, and then he'll sub out the other sections. And that's where the disadvantaged business may come in. Right now we need more disadvantaged businesses that would like to look at the landscaping areas, which is not too labor intense and not too costly. The traffic barrier area, which usually the sub-DB contractor come in and lay out the barricades to state statutes.
And Deborah, commodity procurement and professional services, the other two primary areas, what is included in those two?
Well, in commodities, you have really a vast range of items. For instance, if we look at the Department of Public Works and some of their divisions, for instance, Sanitation Department will purchase rock salt to make sure that our streets are not icy and the travel of citizens can be safe during the winter time. You'll look at Municipal Equipment Division, who purchases many trucks, the dump trucks and other trucks. You can look at Forestry Division, where they're buying large numbers of trees and flowers and things like that. And then you look at a division or department such as the Police Department. They're looking at uniforms, radios, ammunition, different things like that. So people often think of commodities meaning paper supplies and office furniture and pens and pencils and things, and of course we buy a lot of that, but we buy a large variety of things. When you look at professional services, you're looking more at the services that people provide in the area of, let's say, security. You're looking at training, you're looking at restaurants perhaps.
The idea here is to create jobs, obviously, and to strengthen business in the city of Milwaukee.
Correct.
This may be an obvious question, but what's the payback for the city? The city is doing things for businesses out there. What's the payback for the city of Milwaukee?
Well, I would say that there's a great payback for the city of Milwaukee. I think when you look at community development, you look at wanting the citizens to feel productive, to have confidence, to be eager about making a contribution to the city. I think you build that feeling through providing opportunities. There are many people who want to have jobs. They want to be able to bring home a decent paycheck to provide for their families. And so all of those positive byproducts that you get from having productive employed people, I think, are products that the city will realize in these efforts. I think it's really a two-way street, a real positive two-way street. Is the more that we can provide opportunities, the more that we'll receive from the citizens.
Now, you don't help businesses start up, do you? But you can refer these people to other services, other resources.
Well, I've personally referred people to SCORE because they don't charge a fee.
Which is the Service Corps of Retired Executives.
Correct, as SBA or Small Business Administration. Also, there's the Minority Chamber of Commerce, which also doesn't charge a fee. There's a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which will help. Also, there's a Minority Business Development, which is another service that doesn't charge a fee. There's the Women's Business Initiative that doesn't charge a fee. And let me go back a little bit. The Minority Business of Commerce, Chamber of Commerce, which is by Greg McKinney, they charge a small fee based on their proposal that they submitted with the Department of Commerce. So that would be the only one. And there's also the Mech Center North and Mech Center South, which will help with business plans.
We're talking today about what the city is doing and the city's EOEP program, Equal Opportunity Enterprise Program, but I think we should mention also that there are other programs available through other units of government in
Correct.
Milwaukee and Milwaukee County. Which other governments are involved?
Well, actually, Bill mentioned earlier the Joint Certification Program, and in that program there are actually 5 different jurisdictions that participate. The city participates, as well as Milwaukee County, Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District, Milwaukee Area Technical College, and Milwaukee Public Schools. So those 5 definitely are ones that have these similar types of programs.
And applying for one gets you involved with all of them?
Correct, through the joint certification program. Once you get certified, if you get certified for both MBE, WBE, and DBE, they will send your name out and tell you who to contact, and there's a listing within your application of the different entities that you can contact to try and help you get into the door of opportunities quicker.